In the heart of a quiet African village nestled between two rivers, life was simple. Children played with sticks, mothers pounded yam, and the old sat under mango trees sharing stories. Among them lived a cheerful family, Mr. Ibrahim, his wife Mama Halima, and their two children, Zainab and Musa. Zainab was 13, with curious eyes and calloused feet. Her younger brother, Musa, was just 6, always running behind her, laughing. But one rainy season changed everything. Mr. Ibrahim, a strong farmer, fell ill with a fever that medicine could not cure. In less than 2 weeks, he was gone. Silence replaced laughter. Poverty replaced comfort. And the cheerful family turned into survivors. With no father, no money, and a mother bedridden from grief and sickness, Zainab became the head of the family. She was only 13, yet she fetched water, cooked food, cleaned, and took care of Musa. But soon, she noticed something frightening. Musa had stopped eating, and he coughed through the night. At the village clinic, a nurse looked at Zainab with pity. Musa needed treatment in the city, tests, injections, and care that would cost more money than Zainab had ever seen in her life. The girl who used to play hide-and-seek was now facing a storm. Zainab made a decision. Every morning before the sun rose, she entered the forest with a machete nearly as long as her arm. She chopped dry wood with blistered hands. Then, balancing bundles heavier than herself, she walked barefoot to the village square to sell them. The market women looked at her with amusement. Some whispered, others laughed. "Look at that girl. Trying to be a woman," they said. But Zainab didn't care. She tied the firewood with palm rope, placed it on the ground, and shouted, "Firewood. Dry and strong. Good for cooking." A few kind women bought from her. Most walked past. But every coin she earned was folded carefully in a scarf, her Musa money. As days turned to weeks, Zainab became a familiar figure in the market. Her clothes wore thin. Her sandals broke. Her feet grew tough and cracked. Children called her names: forest girl, bush baby, wood seller. But she smiled through the insults. In the evenings, she returned home, bathed her mother, fed Musa, and counted her money by candlelight. But the money was never enough. One treatment alone would swallow all her savings. Still, she kept going. One afternoon, the sun burned like fire. Zainab had carried 2 heavy bundles, hoping to earn more that day. She hadn't eaten since morning. As she shouted in the market, her voice cracked. Her hands trembled. Her knees buckled. And then, she collapsed. Vendors screamed. Someone poured water on her face. She woke up slowly, staring into a circle of worried eyes. But among them, there was one face that stood still, a man in sunglasses, dressed in simple clothes. He said nothing. He simply watched. The next day, Zainab stayed home. Her body ached. But by evening, she forced herself up. Her family needed her. As she approached the edge of the forest, a man stepped into her path. It was the man from the market. He spoke gently. "I saw you collapse yesterday. You remind me of someone I once knew." Zainab stared at him, unsure whether to run or reply. "I want to help your brother," he continued, "and I want to take you both to the city for treatment." Her eyes widened. "Why would you help us?" she asked. He smiled. "Because no child should carry this much pain alone." The man introduced himself as Uncle Yusuf, a former teacher who had returned to the village to start a small foundation. He had watched Zainab for weeks. That week, Zainab and Musa were taken to a hospital in the city. The boy was diagnosed with severe pneumonia and early-stage tuberculosis. But he was treated properly, completely, safely. Mama Halima was brought to the city too and received better care than she'd known in years. Zainab. She went to school for the first time in months, not to sell, not to beg, but to learn. A year later, the villagers gathered near the central tree. Whispers filled the air. A shiny car had arrived. From it stepped a healthy-looking boy, a smiling mother, and a girl in a neat uniform with polished shoes, Zainab. She had returned with gifts, medicine, books, and an announcement. Uncle Yusuf had built a small learning center in the village, and Zainab would be helping to teach. The girl they had once mocked now stood as a light of hope. They no longer called her bush baby or forest girl. They called her Zainab the Brave. The girl who sold firewood to save her brother had become a symbol of courage for the whole village. And in her heart, she knew. It's not the size of the body that carries strength. It's the size of the love inside.